there, it's Lisa. Welcome back to MISTical March. In our first misting video, we did some things with titles. This time I'm going to work on the backgrounds, but I'm going to use some stencils and masking to do my background. The two mist colors that I have are going to be the Delusions, Funky Fuchsia, and Delusions After Midnight, because I'm trying to match the colors in this photo that my husband and I were wearing. And I'm going to be working on this background paper, and I'm being brave here because it's the only piece I have of it. I almost never have more than one piece of a particular background paper. It's also a paper that was a particular favorite of my husband's. This came from, or sort of started out from a challenge, a load challenge in February, where we were asked to get some help on picking out things for a scrapbook page. So he looked at Pinterest and he saw one of the layouts he liked. He really liked the background with all the words. And when I was shopping later on online, I saw this paper that I think is the same thing. I really have never gone back to look and see if it was exactly the same paper that that other scrapbooker used. I'm going to be using it in a pretty different way, and so it's not critical, I think, that it's exactly the same paper. He just liked the words. I think it is. It's from Crepe Paper, and it's from the Flea Market collection. And it's beautiful paper. I wish I had ordered more than one piece because you could cut it up and use the words in lots of different ways. What I want to do with it is to mask off an area and put some color on top of, directly on top of this background. I'm going to be masking a really large heart, and what I did was cut a heart out with the Cricut. I did not do a sketch for this. I started to do a sketch, and I couldn't quite figure out where I wanted things, so I decided I'll do the page first, because I think I know where I want the heart and kind of where I want to go from there, and then I'm just going to build it, and I'm not going to do a sketch of this particular go-around, at least at the beginning of the video. When I cut this out, my intention was for the heart to go over to the right, but I ended up cutting it pretty much right in the middle. I still think, though, I want it more towards the right side, so I'll put some additional paper over here so that when I'm misting it, I won't end up messing up the rest of my design. And I'm going to be using a couple of masks along with this. These are new to me from the Crafters Workshop. Actually, they're brand new anyway. They're part of the CHA release. This one is called the Onion, the 6-inch version, and this one I don't remember the name, and if I can find the number and see it, 461S. Crafters Workshop 461S. So I don't remember the name of this one, but it's really beautiful stencil. So I'm going to do some different stenciling. I was going to do more than 2 stencils, but I think that since the photo is going to end up covering up part of this, I think 2 stencils are going to be fine to do that. I'm also going to be using quite a few embellishments. That was one of the things I wanted to work towards this year, was using more different kinds of embellishments. So I have some Maggie Holmes Crepe Paper different flair, and this is from Amy Tangerine, and the little key is actually from Hobby Lobby, from back in some of the craft areas, like where they have other wood items. They had these keys, and they were really cheap. I think they were $2 or something for a pack of those. I also have some chipboard from Basic Grey. This is a Spice Market collection, and when I'm doing this video, I have not done anything with Spice Market at this point, so it's really unusual for me to go and pull the embellishments out and use those first. But the reason I did is I was looking for things to go with the pink, and I saw these embellishments, and there's a lot of pink in here, and I didn't pick very many Spice Market papers that have pink in them. I think I have one. I don't know if there just wasn't a lot of pink in the collection, there's a lot of pink in the chipboard, or I just didn't pick it. But anyway, I think I can easily pull some pink out of this, and that won't be a problem when I go back to use that collection later on. I also have some more crepe paper vellum, so I might use some of that. So first thing here is gluing down some scrap paper on the side so I don't accidentally overspray, and I'm trimming off the branding strip there. I'm going to add a little bit of removable adhesive in places that I know I'll be covering up with other things just in case it would stick. I'm not expecting it to, but just making sure that I don't have any glue sticking there and having that heart in the position that I want it in. I'm going to be starting with that first round stencil, and I realized that I needed something under it to cover up the rest of the heart that was cut, that had the round part cut out. So I'm just tracing this around with my pencil and cutting it out by hand. It doesn't have to be a perfect circle. I'm just trying to, keep that whole circle shape up there without getting cut off with any of the papers that will be covering it up. And I used a little bit of Scotch tape to hold everything down. I'm misting it with the Delusions Blue Mist. And pulled that off and pulled the paper off. We're starting to see the design coming through. This onion stencil will go on the bottom, so I laid a circle across the top to cover up the blue so it won't get any overspray. And I'm trying to line up that onion shape there so that one of those little round or oval kind of shapes goes down in the very middle point of the heart. And I'm not spraying too heavy with this. I want a lot of color there, but it doesn't bother me if a little bit of the background shows. It's a pretty background. And then I'm turning the onion shape on its side, just for some difference up there in the upper right hand corner, and the photograph will overlay where these two come together. I decided to add just a little bit of blue spray on the side. I didn't know how that would look, but it turns out those colors blended beautifully. Okay, I'll pull that off. And I like how this looks. I'm concerned that it's not quite big enough. So one of the things that I could do is add maybe some shading around the edges to make it a little bit larger. I still have the inside when I cut this out with the Cricut, so I'm just going to glue that over the top and add the shading around the outside. I'm just laying it over there for the time being. This is basic gray color from Stampin' Up. I tried it on a spot that I knew would be covered up, and I like that look. Again, adding a little bit of removable adhesive. And then I'm just going around the edge with a sponge and the basic gray ink. I find that the Stampin' Up inks work as well for distressing almost as the distress inks do. So if I have a color in Stampin' Up, I just use that one. Just give that some gray. I put it a little bit heavier on the right hand side than the left. That was kind of what I wanted. And when I pulled that off, I was so pleased. It just like the heart really popped. And now you can see it a little bit better zoomed out there, where the photo will go. And the gray just really adds a lot of definition to this. Starting to put some things down. Get my photo in place, and then I'll be layering a lot of things on top of that. I went through all kinds of ribbons. I had really frilly ribbons and some with multicolors, my little pom-pom trim. It's got down between the pom-pom trim and a flatter, lacier trim. I thought I'd pull out some of these pink chipboard pieces that I especially liked. I tried the paper clips that went with this collection with a collection from Webster's Pages, but it didn't end up working out. I liked this larger piece of chipboard a little bit better there, so I'm not going to have something in the upper left corner of the heart like I'd originally thought I might. Just kind of revisiting the chipboard to see if there's anything else. And there happens to be some blue also in this collection. Not a lot of blue paper. I think I have one blue paper, but I'm going to use that blue Remember When, because it really goes with my color scheme. And this will be the title page for one of our albums, so I think that's appropriate. Went through every pink letter I had except the one that actually matches, because the one that actually matches was not stored with the rest of my thickers. It was stored with some paper, and I missed it. So I've corrected that problem. I don't do well with things stored in kits, so I put those thickers back where they belong. But in the meantime, I picked out a lighter color for 2013, and I think that'll work. I haven't quite decided at this point where it's going to go on the layout. I have some blue paper here that I'm going to use behind the little arrows there, and maybe over there underneath that key. Now I'm ended up gluing on these, or peeling the adhesive off and pressing on these pieces of chipboard, and I kind of regret that later on because I'm going to have to pull some of them back up to put some brads in there. I don't know why I went ahead and glued them on, but it worked out. Now with the key, like the love thing there, I wanted a little bit of the blue showing through so I could pull some of that color in. So I just cut out some of the blue, trimmed that out, and then glued on the key with some Tombow adhesive. And then glued the whole thing on the background, and I'll put that pink embellishment there on the top. This blue paper is from actually the Lakeside collection. It's a summer collection, but I have used those papers on all kinds of things. I've used them on Christmas stuff. I've used them on all kinds of things. Some great colors in there from Pebbles. Okay, just deciding on where 2013 goes. Finally decided on the bottom. And then I've got a few more brads to put in place. I did have to lift one of those up to put the brads where it needed to go. And I put my brads on with a paper piercing tool. So here's our completed page, stenciled in the heart with different stencils after cutting it out with the Cricut, and then took the original heart and laid back over it and did the shading using some gray ink, which I think it was the key to it. I think it really made it stand out, made it larger, and just gave it some dimension and pop to the whole thing. One of my other goals with this page was to use more embellishments and not to worry so much about the pattern paper, because I wanted to show up my background and not really cover it up with a lot of pattern paper. I was really pleased that I could use these Spice Market chipboard items. There's nothing on here at all basic gray or about the Spice Market collection, but I got 3 of them worked in because of the pink color. I also used, of course, some wood veneers. These again came from Hobby Lobby, real inexpensive, but a nice addition to a page. So there's not a lot here, but it's a title page for our album. The 2013 album's in 2 different books, and so this is the second half of the year, and that it just will introduce the album, so I didn't really feel like it needed a big separate title, just the date on there. So thank you for watching today. I always love to get thumbs up if you like what you see on the video, and I do appreciate comments, and they can certainly be constructive criticism if there are things that I can do better. I spend a lot of time doing these videos, so I want people to get something out of them. So if I talk too fast or too slow, or there's just something that I can improve, I would certainly appreciate the opportunity to do that. Thank you again for watching, and there'll be a little slide at the end of this that tells you about the classes that I have available if you're interested in taking those, where I go into more depth on some of the different processes for 2-page classes and for cardstock. Thank you.